This episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the CastSource Podcast Network, a podcast network built with and for entrepreneurs. We cover many genres, including sports, business, mental health, marketing, and entertainment. Feature the podcast shows such as Sports Bring People Together, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, and The Athletic Mindset. Learn more at castsource.com/podcast. And without further ado, let's get into the Buffalonian Podcast. The Buffalo Bills are in the home stretch of their season. And the Sabres haven't played any games since we've last spoken on the Buffalonian Podcast. With the usual would you rather, hot takes, trivia, and more, this is the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Callie, and I am joined by Dom Loss. And in a little bit here, Mike Marino will also be joining us. It's a little hectic day, hectic holidays after this crazy snowstorm we've had. So we're just trying to figure it out with that right now. But without further ado, let's get into it, Dom. The Bills won last weekend on Christmas Eve against the Chicago Bears. It was, wasn't necessarily the most pretty win we've seen, but a win's a win, no matter how ugly it is. So what just base thoughts coming off of it? What are you feeling like?
It felt like it was going to be one of those days definitely after that first defensive drive. And then, them trailing into halftime. And then after halftime, it felt like they were going to go in cruise control. And then they continued to make mistakes that made the game a little bit more interesting. It never felt like the game. It never felt after they jumped up 21-10 after James Cook's touchdown. It never felt like the game was necessarily in danger. It's kind of like that Packers game,
right?
Where you didn't feel like the game was necessarily like in the balance, but they were just making really dumb, critical errors that were like keeping the game closer than it probably should have been. But at the end of the day, 35-13. I don't think 22 points is like the correct total. I would say 20-13. I would say 15 points, 17 points is probably the right margin of victory, but I don't complain about the extra touchdown.
No, not at all. Especially with the way the run game showed up and played. It's really cool to see both Singletary and Cook have a long rushing touchdown. Just to see how far Cook's come this season has been pretty spectacular, from fumbling his first touch to doing stuff like that. The Bears don't have that great of a rush defense, but no, without a doubt, I think they've really, really, come a long way. And the defense, they did a I don't know, what would you say? All right,
I think they did a good job. I think they're pretty good. Other than the first drive, which it felt like it was going to be one of those days where the defense kind of gets pushed around a little bit against an inferior opponent. But Justin Fields, I thought was pretty bad most of the day, and I think that's a lot of credit to the Bills making him a pocket passer. He had 7 carries for 11 yards. They only really had the one deep pass play that I felt like Trey just kind of misjudged. And it was kind of similar to the Mike White interception from last year, where Trey kind of backs off the post route and takes the crosser. And he just missed that. But that was the only real big play in the air that Chicago was able to get going. Obviously, Chicago was a pretty bad team. They made a lot of pretty crucial errors. Drops. They didn't help out Fields all that much, but I thought the Bills did a good job. The Ends did a good job containing. And I thought then that guys like Ed Oliver and others be able to finish from the interior, the press from side. So overall, I think it was a good day. I think it was a dominant performance for the defense, to be honest with you. They really gave up a touchdown. I think they gave up one field goal drive. And then the other field goal they gave up was because of the interception. I guess they let them drive down the field a little bit there, but also, I think the one field goal they got was because they had a punt from their end zone they had at the 40. So I think, I think when they got good field position, the defense did. They did a good job on the touchdown drive.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned an interception. Josh had 2 on the day. I feel like one can somewhat be, I don't know. Looking at it, he threw in a double coverage against McKenzie, but then again, the linebacker made a good play moving up.
Corner.
Yeah, or the cornerback moved up. And, it was just like, I don't know.
I don't think there's any defending that one.
No.
I think that one's the one that's like completely indefensible because he just got fooled. And if he would have instead of just I don't say dash not blindly, but sometimes after pre-snap he was so the broadcast showed that he must have been so decisive that he was going to throw that pre-snap.
Mm-hmm.
That if he took like a half second post-snap, he would have realized that pass is not there, and he should have checked underneath either to. I believe Quentin Morris underneath or James Cook, I think, was in between the two linebackers on the kind of that 5-yard stop route. Mm-hmm. So either one, the check down was the better option if he would have looked post snap. So that was him. That was Josh being a little lazy careless with the football, as they say.
Yeah.
The second one, I'm not going to give a pass because it was still a bad throw. Mm-hmm. But I can understand that the weather had something to do with that. But at the end of the day, 2 interceptions seems right because he also threw one. Basically across, like it was, I tell you never to throw across like your body to the middle.
Yeah,
of the
cross body. He's going across his shoulder.
He wasn't even throwing to the middle of the field. He was throwing to all the numbers. Just it's one of those games. Honest to tell you, Joe, where it shows that as much as I love Josh, and it's going to sound pretty critical, this is one of those games where it shows why Josh may never really win an MVP is because he has games against really bad teams where he kind of around a little bit with the football and then cost him in the MVP race. Like, I think he's dead now. I think he's drawn dead.
Oh, after these 2 interceptions, he's done after this game.
Maybe he has a great game Monday Night Football and he torches the Pats. And the only chance he has is that he has 39 total touchdowns and Mahomes is 41. His only chance is that the Bills win and he plays convincingly very well in both games and he having more total touchdowns than Mahomes. That's his only chance of winning now. And I still
think he'll get a couple votes. If that happens, I don't think he wins at all.
I would say that's probably accurate, but it reminds me a lot of the Falcons game where he threw 3 picks, where it was like he was kind of getting some buzz for MVP, and that just was the nail in the coffin. I feel like this was the nail in the coffin for that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And for weeks, these little interceptions since the Green Bay game, everyone's like, "Oh, Allen's out of the MVP race," and you're like, "Man, maybe he can come back in." That game put the nail, like you said, nail in the coffin. That was it. It was game over.
He had a game like last week against the Dolphins where he throws for 300 yards, runs for another 70, throws for 4 touchdowns, and Mahomes kind of, struggles against the Houston. It doesn't struggle. He actually put up some pretty good numbers, but you could see that maybe, if he plays well the last 3 games and puts up these stats, but I don't know. I think it's over, which isn't, again, it's one of those things where Josh is going to lose out probably in his 2 best seasons to people that just had remarkable seasons.
Right.
Like Aaron Rodgers in 2020 had arguably like one of probably maybe the best quarterback season from a quarterback ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably will be Josh's best season of his career. And there's nothing to be ashamed of that for. He was awesome that year, but he never really was considered for the MVP because Aaron was just so good. And then this year, Mahomes had a great year. I don't think this is like 21 Rodgers. Like I think 21 Rodgers isn't a great MVP. That wasn't. That was.
No, I agree with you on that. A lot of people thought Tom Brady should have been in that one.
Yeah, I think if Allen had a year that he had in 20, or even a year this year potentially, I think he probably wins the MVP last year. So I don't know. It's a weird reward. It's a weird award. I know a lot of people are complaining about how it being a quarterback award, but I think the way it's structured, though, Joe. It says most valuable player, and your most valuable player on any team is your quarterback.
Yeah,
there's no your wide receiver cannot be more valuable than a quarterback. It's unfortunate, but like best player of the year award, then maybe that's how you change it. But most valuable will always be whoever was the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, no, I saw RG3 going crazy about it on Twitter. He was tweeting at Justin Jefferson saying it's criminal how they're not in the talks, and Mark Andrews, like all the Travis Kelce, and I'm like. I'm on the same train of thought you are, though. It's like at the end of the day, the quarterback is that piece of your team that is the most valuable, that makes everything cook on your offense pretty much. You see teams with a bad quarterback and with a great wide receiver, and it's just not there. So I agree with you on that. I feel like the quarterback in itself is the MVP, but I don't know, maybe come up with a different award to get everyone else in the mix. I don't know, something along those lines, but
I really feel like they should do a little bit more of like what college football does, which they do like best quarterback, best wide receiver, best running back, best tight end, best offensive line in the league, best offensive line period, that kind of stuff. Like I feel I feel like they did that because the Heisman is a trophy that, yeah, that's quarterback dominated, but we've seen Derrick Henry, Devonta Smith, like we've seen guys that aren't I mean, that's still a quarterback dominant award, but
right. Other people
sneak. Other people could sneak in. It's doable. Like, I don't know. I feel like if I don't want to say other than like they need a way to figure out. I don't know. Either they need to change it from like the MVP award to having individual award for positions, and then instead of it being the MVP, it's like the Heisman, which is the best player. And then you could have an argument where, oh, it's just Jefferson. If he breaks Jerry Rice's season, I just know it's Kevin Johnson. He has the record now. I'm sorry. If he breaks his yards, then he's the best. He was the best player this year, and then I think people would agree. But most valuable, you're just not going to get my vote.
No.
Unless you have like an Adrian Peterson type season.
Well, yeah, I mean, the dime a dozen though. You know what I mean?
Which happens once every like 25, 30 years. So
exactly. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that'll happen in the future because a lot of people are complaining about it and still do. But is that anything else you want to talk about with the Bears game before we move into a Cincy preview for this weekend? This Monday night.
I would say again, it was a good job of the defense. I think special teams really struggled, and it was one of those games where it was frustrating because they'd never really struggled like that before, but they were giving up huge returns. I felt very confident at one point that the Bears kickoff returner was going to pop a touchdown. I don't know.
I thought he was at one point too.
I just thought that. I mean, Sam Martin had a couple nice punts. Like he actually had a pretty good day. Bass, I just like he misses the first PAT. I actually thought like potentially the first PAT was actually good. Because I thought the first PAT might have been like one. You know how he made the one PAT against the Lions. We all thought he missed it, but he shot it over the upright.
Yeah,
I thought it was one of those situations. I thought that shit got looked at. Obviously, the field goal he missed, he tried to kick into the whip. He tried to kick like using the wind, and just kicked right through the wind and just shanked it. So that was frustrating.
Yeah, I missed that first one. My internet was out because of the storm, so I couldn't see that unfortunately. But
yeah, there's definitely special teams was frustrating. I thought defensively they were amazing. I'm not gonna like really ride a super home on it based off the fact of the Bears are trash. Other than Fields, really. I mean, they have a good young quarterback, and then that's about it. And then offensively, I mean, without your Pro Bowl center, Mitch Morris, to be able to run the ball like they did was good. I thought the Bears got some pressure. I also thought like the broadcaster was overrating how much pressure the Bears were really getting. Like I didn't feel like Josh was really under that much pressure throughout the day. I thought that was a little overrated. And then Knox had a pretty nice day. Obviously, hit first catches the ball 25 yards and then just hits the cement field. But he had a nice day. I thought, I mean, Diggs was just quiet.
He has been the past few games, though, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think Allen's trying not to force it, but I feel like it might be time to give him the ball a little bit more. Or Knox. I thought the running backs had a really nice day. Hines had a really nice catch off the backfield on a 3rd and 8, making a defender's miss and then getting the first down.
Yeah.
Davis is just Davis. I don't know what to say to him anymore.
I don't either, man.
I
got a signed mini helmet of him, and I'm like, this isn't even a good, you know what I mean? Like this.
I mean, he catches the touchdown, fumbles the ball. He has like 2 really inexcusable plays. Of one, he catches the ball on the sideline, but his whole foot's out of bounds.
Yeah,
and like he just didn't have any like sideline awareness of how. He's usually good at that, so I don't want to like completely harsh on him. Mm-hmm. But like his whole foot was out of bounds. I was like, dude, you dragged the foot, yeah, but your other foot that you thought you were just so far out of bounds. That was annoying. And then the play where Josh is kind of scrambling and Josh kind of throws it. I'm like, I don't know what Josh is really looking at other than trying to draw the DPI, but Davis sees the play develop and he doesn't fight through the DB to try to act his way into a penalty.
Yeah, he should have stopped and let him run into you. I mean, like, then go down.
He just kept going. He just stopped. That's his problem. I don't know. I just thought it's been frustrating with Davis. McKenzie, I mean, just I don't know what to say to him other than like, yeah, I think he's good on like these over routes, running away from defenders. He's still good underneath, but anytime they throw the ball, I mean, they threw the ball twice to him pretty on deep routes. The one was picked on the double move, and the one was a 3rd down where he kind of went 1-on-1. Yeah, and it's just not going to have success when you throw to a 5'8" guy that isn't very good at the catch point.
Yeah, and now moving into this game against Cincinnati, I mean, it's just you can't have those stupid mistakes and dumbfounded like, oh my god,
Mhm.
like kind of plays. Like
You
Davis.
you can't miss a field goal. You
No.
can't miss a PAT. That's 4 points. You can't be fumbling the ball at the 1 yard line because of a bad center quarterback exchange. You can't be throwing 2 interceptions. You can't be fumbling the ball. You can't be giving up big plays on special teams.
No, yeah, you can't. You just can't. In Cincinnati, they're hot right now. Like they're cooking, and it's just that's a team that we're gonna have to go up against, like the Chiefs for the next within the next decade. It's gonna be another juggernaut, and it's just like this is huge because looking at the playoff pictures of right now, as as everyone knows, we're the number 1 seed in the conference. But if the Bengals beat us this week and they have beaten the Chiefs also, that would put them in the 1 seed, right? They would overtake.
If the Chiefs lose one more game,
yeah,
the
one
Bengals
more game,
went out.
Yeah, so that would be detrimental to our home playoff chances, which is what we would.
Well, if that would happen, the Bills would be the 2 seed, so it wouldn't be as detrimental.
You got a point, yeah, but still, you'd like to get the bye.
The worst thing that could happen to the Bills is they lose if Kansas City wins out and they lose this game.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing that could happen. So, I think it's an interesting game from the perspective of I don't think last year we were ever really talking about seeding as much. Obviously, the division was never clinched at all last year until the last week, until the Pats lost to the Dolphins and we beat the Jets. So,
yeah,
I mean, it was a little bit weird to be talking about seeding because we didn't really know if we were going to. I mean, we thought we were going to beat the Jets, but like,
it was the other game.
But then in week 18, the Bengals kind of forfeit their game to I believe it was the Browns, to go to 10-7 to fall from the 3 seed to the 4 seed. So the Bills would be the 3 seed, and actually that was an ingenious move because it made the Bills and Chiefs play each other in round 2. Yeah, and they got to play the Raiders, and then they got to play the in Tennessee. I mean, it was kind of an ingenious move.
Do you think it was a strategic flop on that game? You think they threw it like Vegas was in their pocket, or not even Vegas, but the coach was like, "All right, I would want to play the Chiefs or the Titans."
But again, I didn't think it was. I didn't think the reason why I never thought that was the big deal for the Bills to do that is because we already knew at that time the Bills would probably, if they play, were going to probably eventually run into Kansas City, and it didn't matter what was going to happen, other than the Bills were going to have to go to Kansas City at that point. Yeah. Like it was already kind of locked up, even though the Bills had the tiebreaker against them, but they weren't going to have the similar records. So at the end of the day, it was kind of like, I'd rather just get this over with, because at that point, I'm looking at Kansas City and Buffalo were 2 elite teams. I didn't think Cincinnati was an elite team. I didn't think Tennessee was an elite team. So it's not like there was a 3rd elite team out there. Like this year, I would put Cincinnati in that tier. So now you have 3 elite teams, and now I don't want to play an elite team in round 2 because I'm probably going to have to play another one in round 3. And if I'm the 3 seed, I have to play both those 2 teams on the road. Yeah, I'm not going to want to do that this year. It's different this year because what? If Tennessee beats Cincinnati and we beat the Chiefs, we're playing in Tennessee. I don't think anyone's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. We're playing another elite team on the road. No, I think we all thought we were better than Tennessee, even though we lost them that year. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's different this year because this year Cincinnati has gone up a tier, and now it's like a legit chance for the Bills to be the 1 seed or like to be higher seeds than Cincinnati and Bengals without them doing something. So
right. Yeah, and there's other teams you can't sleep on, like the Chargers and Dolphins too. You know what I mean? They could upset. Chargers are on the up and coming.
Sure, I'm more concerned than the Chargers. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but with Tua having a concussion, I would assume he's done for the year.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say that for sure because
a lot of people are saying to shut it down for the season 4.
I would shut it down personally. Again, I said this if Tua was my quarterback, if Tua was in a different division, I'd say the same thing. So it's not like I'm being
it's not Dolphins.
It's not biased that oh my god, like Tua's a good quarterback, and Tua's a lot better than I was wrong this season. I thought Teddy and Tua were close. Tua's way better than Teddy.
Yeah,
in my opinion, but. No, I think the only team that would scare me in the wild card would be the Chargers. The Ravens are just kind of a team that's they're just weird. They just can't score.
Yeah.
They just can't score. And I feel like as long as you don't do something dumb and you can stop the run, you're going to beat them. The Chargers are a team because the Chargers have a tier 1 quarterback. So anytime you have a tier 1 quarterback, you can beat anyone in the NFL. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah,
as long as you have a team around them. And they do have a good enough team around them. So I would say from the perspective of the Bills, of the 1 seed just means so much this year because you get to play at home.
And you get to watch all these other teams beat themselves up pretty much with these other good teams.
Well, not only that, but Cincinnati and Kansas City, yes, they have to probably meet up and play each other, so they only have to play probably one of them. It's not like out of the realm that one of those teams also just loses in the first round.
Right.
Like there's also a scenario where you don't have to play any of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that'd be huge. That'd be pretty rare, but I mean that's how it happens. And they just get to play an extra game. You're one of the most banged up teams in the NFL, and it would be nice to get another week of rest for all those dudes that are battling through injuries the whole season. So I think it means a lot.
Yeah.
And then if you look at it, like the Chargers are in, the Ravens are in, I believe.
Ravens are in, and the Jags haven't clinched it yet, but they're in the picture right now.
That goes down to week 18, that one spot, and there's probably the one spot in 7. I don't think that could get clinched this week either. So
yeah,
that's going to go down the wire. But again, I think I would preferably have the Bills as the 1 seed and then kind of see where we are from there, because the Chargers are probably going to be the 6, I would assume, maybe the 5. So that would be the one thing that I would say would be unfortunate, is that I don't want the Chargers to be the 5 seed. I want them to be the 6 seed, because then they get to play, hopefully, Cincinnati or Kansas City.
Yeah, they're going to play the Jags.
I don't want them to play the Jags, because then we're going to end up playing the Chargers.
Yeah,
I'd assume.
I think the only thing that would help with that game is Brandon Staley's coaching. I mean,
I've already assumed at this point that the Bills are playing either the AFC South winner or the top wildcard player. I just think Cincinnati and Kansas City are going to take care of business. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what happened last year with us and Kansas City. They took care of business. So
yeah,
I just don't see an upset happening, other than if the Chargers fall to 6. Because I don't think the Ravens are beating anyone, but. Without Lamar, I should say. If they have Lamar, they have a chance. If they don't have Lamar, they have no chance.
Will they, or is he still out?
He's still banged up, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough injury for them. That's a big part of their team, so.
Yeah, but talking a lot about the playoffs.
Yeah,
talking about the actual game. This is the most wins on Monday Night Football ever combined with 27? No, 23. I'm sorry.
23. Yeah,
27. It was 1997. I had 7 in my mind.
Who was it in 97? I forget.
The Denver Broncos and San Fran. So I think Steve Young was still the quarterback. I think Denver won the Super Bowl that year. Hopefully my mic was hearing the whole time. I just realized my mic was off to the side the entire time I was speaking.
No, I could hear you loud and clear the whole time. We're good.
Okay.
Don't worry. Yeah,
we're good.
Now you're a little crisper, but I can hear you the whole time.
I was just like, I was looking at myself. I was like, usually there's something in front of me. I was like, oh wait.
No, you're good. Don't worry.
But that should be an interesting game. This should be an interesting game from the perspective of both teams have elite offenses, but both teams actually. I mean, the Bills have a good defense. I think the Bengals defense is actually underrated.
I agree with that.
So I think they have some dudes. I mean. We'll see if Hendrickson goes again. He has a broken wrist. He's just playing through it, I guess. We'll see how much.
Going to tape it up like a club. It's going to be like something you could punch someone with.
Yeah, I know. They have 2 good linebackers in Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. They have some good DBs too. So it's definitely an interesting matchup. I think the biggest mismatch on the field is Zach Taylor versus Sean McDermott in favor of the Bills, because I don't think Zach Taylor is a specifically good head coach.
Right.
As we saw from last week, they almost blew a 22-0 lead in New England. And really, they should have lost that game.
I was hoping they were. I didn't think I'd ever root for the New England Patriots in my life, but I was in that game. So
they should have lost that game because Ramondre Stevenson's forward progress was stopped before he fumbled. But
yes,
that's beside the point.
Besides the point. Besides the reffing is all besides the point.
I think when they're on, they're on. And when they're off, they're actually really off. Like we saw this with the last 2 games for them. First half of Pats, good. Second half, terrible. First half against Tampa Bay, terrible. Second half against Tampa Bay, really good. They're kind of like the Bills in that they're just inconsistent, but when they play good teams, they play well. I mean, this is a team that's beaten Kansas City 3 straight times.
Yeah,
this is a team that's playing the Super Bowl, and they're at home. And Cincinnati fans are pretty good, so that it's definitely going to be a good environment. And it's a playoff game. It's truly a playoff game because, it's interesting to say, does this game mean more or the Kansas City game means more? I would always say the Kansas City game means more just because of just mentally and emotionally, of what happened last year. After what happened last year, I think mentally and emotionally that was more important. But this game means more in the fact of playoffs. So this is a playoff game. Kansas City, like that last game, okay, someone's gonna say, yeah, that was a playoff game because it's you knew those two teams were gonna get there, but heck, I mean, you don't know. I mean, one of those, I mean, Josh did get injured, but like, you don't know. You can't foresee that they're gonna actually 100% make it. Like, this is a legit. Both teams are in. Both teams will be top 3 seeds. Both teams have a chance to be a 1 seed. And losing this game and winning this game changes a heck of a lot on the top of the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it interesting because if the Bengals lose this game, do they get flexed to Sunday Night Football again to play the Ravens for the division? But if the Bengals win and the Ravens lose, I mean, they clinch the division. So, like, if all of a sudden, like, the Bengals could lose this game and be like, oh my God, we had to play, not only do we have to play now in week 18, like a do or die for a division, we then have to play an actual playoff game after that. So we'd have to be playing in another, like, I mean, really another playoff like game next week.
Yeah, you got 2 high stakes games in a row. I mean, that's mentally taxing on your entire team and physically taxing because you got to really bring your all out there. And it's going to definitely be interesting to see how the week 18 ones play out. I mean, just like, especially with Cincy, like Burrow, like you said, when they're on, they're on. But we've seen even in the first half of the season, they were in a Super Bowl hangover for a while. You know what I mean?
0-2 to start.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can never foresee nothing. I'm going to go back to my old classic saying here, any given Sunday, you don't know what's going to happen. You know, that's truly the magic of it all because it's so cool.
You know what's an interesting fact about the Bengals I didn't realize?
Okay.
I didn't realize this until I was watching. I don't know what game I was watching, but then they showed up the standings. It might have been the Bengals game on with the Pats, and the Bengals are what 11-4. They are 2-3 in the division. They lost
11-5, I think. Yeah,
11-4. They've lost to every single team in their division because they're 2-3, and they've split. They've lost everyone. They lost to Pittsburgh week 1. They've already lost to Baltimore. In Baltimore, they got stomped by the Browns on Monday Night Football in the game that we went the Red Wings game that we went to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of, I honestly was kind of like, wow, that's kind of weird. I mean, like, listen, the Bills have lost to both the Jets and Dolphins, and potentially if they lose in week 18, I guess they could kind of do the similar thing.
But look at the Rams last year. They went 3-3 in the division and still won the Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah, but I don't think the Rams lost to every team in their division. I thought they got swept by a team. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Maybe no, you might be right. I don't know. I
don't know if Seattle beat them. I don't know.
We'll have to look into that for the next one.
No, they didn't. They didn't lose to everyone because they got swept by the Niners because the Niners always beats them. Always beat them.
Gotcha.
That's what it was. No, so I don't remember the last time. I honestly don't remember the last time a team could potentially be the 1 seed in their conference but lose to every single team in their division. I mean, that's something to look up for ESPN if you want to check that one out. I'm not going to go that deep into that one, but no, I mean, listen. Listen, I think this game starts with Josh Allen versus Joe Burrow. I mean, two tier 1 quarterbacks. I think everyone has them in their top 5. And it's just going to come down to who. I feel like it's going to come down to which one of those two play better. And I know that's like a scary thought. Not because I don't think Josh is up to the task, but like you built this roster out. He has his on and off days, but he's always up for. I mean, listen, Josh has always played well on Monday Night Football. He just has. I mean, he dominated the Titans game. We were there for that.
That was awesome.
He played well. Okay, we were also there for the Monday night game against the Pats, but that was also like he played well. Like he played well. It was just the conditions were terrible. And then Monday night game last year, I know they lost to the Titans, but he played well. Niners game a couple years ago, he played really well in that game. So. And
got a good history.
And the Pats game in 2020 as well to not clinch the division.
You're right.
So I mean, he's always had monster games. His only game I would say he's played poorly in was the Pats game last year, but that was also really
45-mile-an-hour winds, all that crap.
So I mean, he's primetime Josh. He's gonna come up. He's gonna show up. It's all about him taking care of the ball, I would say, and be willing to again paper cuts. I think someone needs to show him the film of week 1 and just show what he was doing. Because I don't think we've ever seen. I don't really think we've really. I don't know, man. Like I don't think we've really. I say this though. I do believe that I think his elbow injury. Well, I don't think it's as significant as we're saying it is. I do think. I think you can see with the accuracy stats of the 10 yards. I think it is hurting him on these short throws. I think that's why he's kind of reluctant to do it. And it's unfortunate because you saw week 1. he was paper cutting the crap out of the Rams, and that's what we're all begging him to do. Is like, hey, dude, take these 5 yards. They're gonna run for another 3 or 4. Boom, 8 yards pop. And just keep doing that.
Now, do you think with that injury at the end of the season, he ends up getting exploratory surgery or to see if he needs, you know what I mean, anything? Because you can play through a semi-torn UCL.
I would be stunned if he does not get some type of surgery.
Yeah, I'm betting money that he will. I honestly, like, there's no way, because there is such a big drop off, like you said, from week 1 and then post elbow injury, what was happening. So
there's no way they have to do it because next year isn't a make or break year. I mean, some people are gonna say this year isn't. It is in a way, but I just feel like your window's kind of always open with Josh.
Yeah,
and he's signed till 28. So I'm sorry, but if he has to have surgery that he misses the first 2 months of the year, but you're gonna tell me that it's gonna fix the problem, I think you gotta take it. I mean, maybe a competitor can be like, oh, if I rehab it, I can get it to 95%. But like, I think that's where you gotta, protect the player from himself in that aspect of being like, hey, dude, like,
yeah,
we need you. If you were always open, let's help. We're gonna build a good enough roster where we can survive the first 2 months without you, and hopefully, if you come back and ready, we get hot, and we just make it somehow. I don't know.
Well,
I feel like that might be. I mean, I'm not saying that
might be the way it goes, man. Honestly.
I'm speculating the crap out of that, but like, I feel like that's kind of how you have to play it. But no. So I mean, listen, if he could take the short passes, that's gonna help this offense. This ground game, if it can continue to dominate, the Bengals have a good defense. Like, this is a really good litmus test for the playoffs. If this ground game runs, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, 10 yards of pop like they were doing against the Bears. Like, that's
unrealistic.
But I thought that was their best game of the year offensively on the offensive line running the ball. Let's see it again. I'm actually excited. James Cook is a dude. I think we've now officially, like, everyone who was kind of hating on that pick, like, oh my god, they're not even using him. He is a dude now.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs to stop. The turf monster is undefeated against him. It's like time. Need to stop with that. But on Himes, I think they're using him interestingly. I would say they could use him more, but I would like to see a little more.
They're starting to a little bit. We saw a little more with the Bears game.
I like him out of the backfield on third, like little third down back-ish. I like that.
Yeah.
Could use a little more Knox. Could use a little Cole Beasley if they're not going to use McKenzie. And then probably a little bit more Diggs. I know I'm saying a little more, and there's really probably not that much on the bone to give out. So they're going to have to find ways to do it. But if they can run the ball, like, I mean, that'd just be so huge. I mean, we saw it last year in the playoffs. They lost to the Chiefs because they could not do anything outside of that first drive, outside of Josh Allen. Right. That's why they lost. I mean, they had 3 straight runs the one time, and then Nick Bolton made the tackle for loss. They did the end around to McKenzie on like 3rd and 2 or whatever. They took the ball out of Josh's hands, and they got stopped. And so, like, everything had to go through Josh. And yes, they almost won the game, and probably, I mean, if we're being honest, probably should have won the game. Yeah. But that's really, I hate being one of those guys that say, oh my God, it's not sustainable. But like, this year, it's not sustainable because the teams around them are very good, and Josh is banged up. And like, sometimes, like, I know in the playoffs it's gonna be free reign, man. Like, once you get the playoffs, like, dude, jump over anyone you want. Like, but like, you still got 2 weeks. Like,
no, we gotta get through it and just go from there, because it's like you said, we can't put it all on him because he is banged up, and we've seen the flashes of what this running game could be last year. Devin Singletary going into the playoffs against New England, who had a pretty solid run defense. He ran all over him in that game. You know what I mean? So it would be really cool to see, like you said, James Cook's a dude, see him elevate that dude status even more and just get out there and go for it. And yeah, you have Allen scramble like he normally would. You have quarterback runs, of course. You don't want him to be your leading rusher in the playoffs anymore. You want to kind of hand that off to the running backs, but have it be successful, like you said, not how it used to be where it was just the Josh Allen show, and if you took the ball out of his hands, you weren't going to get anything done. So I think, like you said, that's the biggest thing going into especially this game. Like you said, you're excited. I'm excited because this is the biggest test aside from, I'd say, the Kansas City game earlier this year. I mean, we've beaten them. We know we can beat them. Just playoff Mahomes always gets the best of us somehow. You know what I mean? So it's just that kind of a thing. And I think we might overcome that this year. I really do. I mean, people are saying Super Bowl or bust. I'm not going to go that far to say it because, like you said, Josh just signed for 8 years or till 2028. You know what I mean? We got 6 more years with Josh. And the team around us is, we've got some wiggle room here. It's not like we're losing everybody all of a sudden. I feel like we're going to work on some re-signings.
I will say this: it's not Super Bowl bust, but this is the best team.
Oh yeah,
that they are going to assemble. I'm talking like probably ever. I'm just gonna say it. Like Jermaine, Poyer, Oliver in 2 years. Like this team to say that. I mean, at the end of the day, like they're gonna have to replace these guys. Maybe down the road they replace these guys and they have a better team. Sure, this is their best team to date.
Right.
And just factual. Like this is better than the 21 team, better than the 20 team talent wise. This team now will probably not be better. Will be better than the 23 team, talent wise. So now it's going to be up to them drafting really well. It's going to be up to them developing these really young guys. And that's what we're going to see. And also, can I say this? I'm talking about young guys. AJ Epinesa has 6.5 sacks in the year. Can I just say, this is why sacks are overrated, man. Like he's having a good year. Credit to him. But like, man, how many? I mean, that's just an insane amount of sacks for a dude that's like a DN3. He's DN4 on the team if everyone was healthy. Because like they have DN3, they probably put Shaq there. So like that's just kind of good for them to get that kind of production on AJ Epinesa, but that is just funny to me.
Yeah, and you know what else is funny? I think we've got our belated birthday boy in the podcast.
He got out. Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, Mike. He got out of work. How you feeling? Got his Texas A&M gear on.
That's
wow.
Too bad they don't play the bowl.
Okay, you know what? Get rid of Jimbo.
Welcome to the show, Mike. We're doing a little Bills Bengals.
Sorry to be late here, but I just got caught up doing some things. Is at work, so my bad.
We're talking about the Bungles and the Bills.
Bungles in the Bills right now.
Bungles and Bills.
I just brought up how AJ Epinesa has 6.5 sacks.
Damn.
And how fraudulent sacks are as a stat because of that. So, oh man, but
to an extent,
I don't know. Looking at this game, they're 1-point favorites. All right, I mean, but we're away, so I think that might swing a little bit in between now and Monday. I'm going to be honest with you. I think
we're like 1.5 point favorite. I think it stayed pretty close, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we were 1.5 starting, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I mean, it's truly, like you said, just going to be a test if we can win the game on all cylinders, because we've proven we can win the game on all cylinders, but not all within the same game, right? Like we've had our running game and defense step up like last week, but special teams and offense was like passing offense, I should say, was like poop. It was like not really working very well. You know what I mean? But now if we can put everything together all in one against a playoff caliber team like the Bengals, Super Bowl worthy like the Bengals, like to us, that would be huge. Like that'd be the biggest thing coming out of this game for sure. I mean, Mike, what are your general thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you've already said or like how much you've talked about it, but
just go for it.
Yeah,
this game is obviously going to be like, if we're ready for the playoffs, we're going to know by Monday night, because the Bengals are a team that are getting hot right now, and don't forget they were a team that made the Super Bowl last year, so they were the kings of the AFC. So we're trying to show that that's us this year, and we're trying to fight for that number 1 seed. And in my opinion, like these past few games we've played, yeah, we've won, but like they have not been convincing, promising games. Like,
would you coach Jerry Sullivan?
we were down to Chicago at halftime, and like that first half, we did not look very good. Like the offense was not playing very well, and then even like towards the end, like we were having turnovers, the fumbles, the interceptions. Like I think Chicago really needed to clean it up, and I think to an extent they did. Like I said last week, and then you get the run game going at Singletary 100 yards, and he got 100 yards. I think James Cook had 99 yards. Defense was able to keep Justin Fields in check from running. But, next week we're going to see if we're ready for the playoffs. The Bengals, I think they're ready for the playoffs. They want to be the number 1 seed, and I think they can be.
Mm-hmm. They need to win out. If they win out and Kansas City loses the game, they're the 1 seed.
Yeah, that'll get them to it. But I think, it'll be
out here.
There he is. We got him back. It'll be
everything's
interesting. Interesting matchup, that's for sure. But I don't know, Dom, you got. I mean, do we want to roll into some maybe some score predictions here, or what are we thinking?
Sure. So, I think it's going to be interesting how the Bills stop Chase and Higgins, because both those two dudes are athletic freaks, and the Bills have always struggled against them. I think Trey's played pretty well since he's come back. I think he is not the number one corner he used to be. That's not really his fault. And he's not as bad as some others would say he has been. Like, if you look, he's been targeted 25 times. I think he's going to play 12 catches. Like, that's under 50%. Like, it's not as bad as people are saying. It's that he's giving up some big plays, which he used to not do in the past because he was so technique sound. So, it's a game for Trey White to step up. It's a game to figure out who your freaking second outside cornerback is. I know they just activated Christian Benford's practice time, but I doubt he plays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Dane, I don't know what he was doing on that first touchdown. Did force a fumble later in the game, so he wasn't all burnt. I think this is a game for Elam with man coverage, but I don't know, man. I have an interesting feeling. Like, I kind of think the Bengals could win. The Bengals, this is the least confidence I've been in the Bills game since the Chiefs game, and it's nothing really because of the Bills playing; it's because of the opponent. But with that being said, I got Buffalo 35, Cincinnati 31.
All right. No, I like that. I'm right with you. I think, our defense is going to step up. They're going to do what they do. I want to see Matt Milano and Tremaine really get down and dirty this week. I would love to see that on Monday night. But I think this game is going to be a Josh Allen statement game. He's going to throw for over 300, and he's going to have a day. And truthfully, I think this is going to be a close game. So I'll hover around I want to say 38-35 Bills. I think it's really going to be within a field goal. Like, this is going to be a shootout, 100%.
We got two high scoring games.
Yeah. Mike, what about you?
No, I think this game's going back and forth. I'm going to think there's going to be like a little lull period, like coming out of halftime, that third quarter. It's going to be a little lull. Both teams are going to be punting. But I think it's really just going to be back and forth, back and forth. I think it's going to go to overtime.
Oh,
and we're going to win on a kick of 44 yards, 30-27.
So the Bills get the stop and kick it, or do they kick it?
We get the stop, and then we get the kick.
Do we get an enter, or is it just a punt?
It's a punt.
Okay. I like it. I mean, it's definitely all could very much happen. We're going to be honest with you. It's not out of the question. This could be a low-scoring game, too. But, I mean,
the Chiefs were 24. It was 24-20 that game. That game could potentially happen again, but I don't know. I just think both these offenses are going to explode. I don't know.
I would say
it's Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Monday Night Football, 2 weeks out from the playoffs. They got to show what they're made of, and I think both teams are going to try it. So it'll definitely be exciting. But I think that's going to do it for our Bills talk today. Am I right, gentlemen? Yeah. Anything else we want to toss in there before we head into some Sabres?
Or 5-minute Sabres talk?
Yeah, whatever Sabres talk we have for the day. So, but before we move into the Sabres, I would just like to bring up the Sports Bring People Together podcast. You should listen for entrepreneurial conversations with those in sports. And who knows where the chats will take you, but sports got us all here together in the first place. Find the show wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or simply visit sportseplus.com. And now, without further ado, let's get into this Sabres talk. There's not much, Mike. There's not much. It's just
snowstorm happened. Tuck snow blowing.
Yeah, I mean that's really all we're getting. Game was postponed.
2 games.
Yeah, it was just
Casey Milstead found his way in Columbus, though. What a guy!
What a guy! We gotta love Casey Middlestat.
Listen, he was gonna go 1-on-5. Okay.
Yeah.
No goalie, just him for 60 minutes for the squad. No, I mean, obviously we had 2 games projected to happen before we did the next pod. Obviously the pod has come, and the 2 games have not. So they've done some. I don't think the game on the 27th has been in Columbus has been rescheduled. I know the game on the 23rd has been rescheduled all the way to like March 4th, I want to say. And then the Flyers game that was that date got rescheduled all the way to January 9th. So the Sabres definitely have a hard schedule coming up because of all the 2 games that got canceled.
We're going to the one on the 10th. That's a back-to-back now. So
no, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we get Craig Anderson then.
Oh, love to see him in a game. Come on. That'd be awesome.
Probably play then.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's really not that much to honestly discuss other than Lawrence Pilot today was placed on waivers.
Not surprising.
So it's not surprising. I think he's played better than Fitzgerald, but
Would you rather have seen Fitzgerald go
and
out?
Bryson to that extent, and Bryson, but they're never going to wade those two guys for him, which is unfortunate. Powers returning. Obviously, he missed the previous week with injury. I think it was lower body. I hate hockey when they do that. It's like, just tell us what part of the body he injured. Like,
yeah, be specific. I mean, come on. Like,
is it
football
really that big of an idea?
hyper-specific.
I don't know, man. It's like, is it really that big of a deal to like tell your opponent that he has a banged up knee? I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
He pulled his groin. He's out for 2 games. You know what I mean? He's icing.
Or it could be like the Miami Heat and list every player as injured.
Yeah, that would be funny.
That would be something.
There's really not. I mean, the 4 groups are saying the same. It's gonna be interesting to see the Kid Line can bounce back. They had a tough road trip, but getting a week off, I think that might be able to recharge their buns a little bit. I'm happy that the Sabres are not the Maple Leafs and didn't get fined $100,000 because they decided it was a smart idea to break the CBA and fly to St. Louis on the day that they can't fly to St. Louis.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's a tough look.
Tough, very extremely tough.
You can explain that to the owner how you shorted him $100,000 because you didn't read the CBA quick enough.
A lot of those guys are tricky with their money too. They don't want to see it go anywhere it doesn't need to go. So
interest starting tonight. We'll see. Is this UPL's last start in Buffalo for a little while because Comrie's close to returning. They still have Anderson, or do they just go with 3 goalies?
I hope they do the 3 goalies. I'm going to be honest.
I'd rather see 3, yeah. Because I mean, if we want Luukkonen to be a piece for the future, like I think he needs to keep playing. Like he's played past few games, he's played really well.
The last 2 games, yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like they got to keep him up. So
yeah, I
send him back down to Rochester.
But wait, keeping him up means that they're rewarding him for playing well. And the Sabres show that they don't do that. They stick to their plans.
What do you mean? Casey Milstead had 3 assists and he got on the top line.
And top power play.
Listen, we talked about this at the last game we were at. Everything Casey Middlestat does good. It buys him 10 more games in the NHL.
Yeah, it's like there's certain players. It's certain players.
They were secondary assists. They were secondary assists. They weren't even primary.
Yeah.
Hey, an assist is an assist in Don Bernardo's eyes.
You're really not like the people that are think points to everything are disagreeing with you, but no, I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of it for the team. Like, I mean, it's nice to get the 2 injured defensemen back. Hopefully Comrie does return because I don't think he's a bad goaltender. So I mean, hopefully they keep all 3 up. But I mean, the forwards lines played pretty. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about Sabres wise, just because.
I got one thing. Dylan Cousins is the most Googled player in the Yukon.
That is a stat. That is a stat right there.
And the entire country of Canada, it's Connor McDavid, and then in Yukon, it's Dylan Cousins, the workhorse. Whitehorse.
It's definitely it's like one of those guys that would be like if they were a famous basketball player from like South Dakota or something.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's a little bit. I mean, it get a little bit of Josh being from Wyoming, like college from Wyoming, but like even that's a little weird because like the NFL is just so king. But yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he's like the only professional athlete that they probably ever had.
Yeah.
So that's a good fun fact.
That's a stat right there.
The only other Sabres thing that was probably I don't know if we missed it. Laxton got traded for some other defenseman. I don't even remember a team trade. I think it was Dallas. I don't know.
I think it was the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
So
that's
for Sakani.
Yeah.
AHL swap.
Yeah. And then the mostly random thoughts. The World Juniors are happening. So if you want to put your television to NHL Network, there's a couple.
I think Kulich had a 3-point, or not Kulich. Rosen had a 3-point game. Kulich has been playing well. Austin had a really nice save. Cleared the puck from the goal line. So against Sweden and Czech played against each other. So all of our prospects going in that game.
Yep. Nice to see the lads do well. Rosine, honestly, probably the most underrated prospect just because of what he was. This is his 3rd year, right? Yeah, 3rd year after being drafted. First 2 years got 0 ice time. So, I mean, it's good to see him play well. No, we drafted him in
21.
No, we didn't. Did we?
Yeah. Quinn was 20. It was the Risto trade, that pick.
You're right. I thought he was the same draft as Quinn.
No.
That's Paterka. That's who it was. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
So, and subtract 1 year off what I said. First year not doing anything. Thing. It's pretty much the same thing. First year, he didn't have any ice time, so everyone thought he was kind of trash. Playing better now, so good for him. Yeah. And then Kulich, gonna look like a stud. Nice shot. So, Yeah, I'm. This is kind of boring, but like that's kind of it for Sabres talk. Other than we want to
Feels
do
more like a
predictions.
Sabres rundown than a Sabres talk.
I know.
At this point.
So there is. I would assume that we do a pod sometime either Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. So
Tuesday through Thursday normally is when it falls.
So whenever we do the pod, there will be at least 3 games, which is tonight against the Red Wings, in Boston on the 31st for New Year's Eve, in Ottawa on New Year's Day. So I mean that's a tough doubleheader for like the holiday season. And then they do play Tuesday in Washington. So we may or may not get to that one, but let's just say we, for the sake of saying, I don't know, that we have 4 games that we're gonna talk about in the next pod. I don't know, maybe we don't because maybe somehow the Bruins TD Garden, their lights are gonna come off and water.
Don't speak anything into existence. Do not speak anything into existence.
So the 4 games, I will predict that the Sabres go 2-2.
3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, 3-1.
I was gonna go 2-1-1, but I don't know. I think 2-2. I think rust has to play a factor, but I also think like it's rust, but then it's also rest. It's kind of hard to like.
I think it's more of a tapering effect we're gonna get. I think they're well rested. I think they're gonna cook for.
You're gonna probably see in this game tonight that they haven't been practicing. Like you're gonna see.
No, that's true. Honestly, I think it's gonna be actually a lot more rust because it's not like they were
Yeah, because they haven't been practicing either because there was the travel ban. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. So our predictions from last week that obviously didn't happen was Mike, Tage, and Tage, myself, Tuck, and Darlene, and Joe, Tage, and Skinner. Are we keeping those, or are we?
I'll keep mine.
I want to switch mine.
I knew you were going to be difficult. I was going to say I'm keeping mine.
It's not. So. You mentioned the kid line, and I want to see him pop off, so I'm going to go with that line a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go with Quinn and Tuck. That's what I'm going with here.
Quinn and Tuck. Sounds even play on the line.
Oh no! I think Tuck gets more assists, like points, but I think Quinn scores the most goals. I think they get fired up and go.
Not bad. All right. Would you rather? We good to go on that?
Yeah. Let's hit it.
Would you rather? So, college football bowl season's happening. So, would you rather be the MVP of the Holiday Bowl that just got played yesterday against Oregon and North Carolina? Or would you rather play in the college football playoff?
College football playoff.
And just not even doing. Well, no, you know what? I'll change it. Actually, I'm play trash in the college football playoff. Like ruin your draft stock.
Okay.
If you were a quarterback, if you were a quarterback, I'm not going to say the result of the college football playoff game because you could potentially win. College football playoff, your stat line is 15 for 30, 200 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Holiday Bowl, you go 350, 4 tuds.
Here's my question: do you win with that in the college football playoff, or no? Do you lose right away?
I don't want to say. Give me your answer now, and then I'll say. I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
If it ruins the draft stock, then definitely the MVP. The other game.
Yeah, I should say ruins is a hard word, but it's a negative.
No, it puts a taint on it.
Like it's if you were like a top 10
I'd say
pick,
MVP.
If you're a top 10 pick, you're now like a first round pick.
I'd say the MVP of the Holiday.
All right, now
Bowl
say if you won the college football game. Say if you still win, so you have a potential chance to redeem yourself.
If you still win, yeah, because you're fighting for national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's just bigger, and you would want.
That's why I didn't want to say win or lose because I knew if you lose, like no one's gonna pick that if you play like trash. But if you won, you probably would still like. That's why I didn't want the result to matter. But no, I agree. If I didn't know the result and I had my 2 stat lines for the 2 bowls, I would definitely pick the Holiday Bowl. Also, you get to play in California, so nice weather.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think
you mean like Bo Nix.
Yeah. No, it was a good one, buddy. I like it.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that one. You can go either way.
One of us is wearing a Texas A&M hoodie, so college football.
Yeah, represent. Might as well, right? Yep. Mike, you got any trivia for us today?
Of course, I got trivia.
So what a silly question on my end there.
What is this? Okay. So, arguably one of the best players in Bills history, Thurman Thomas. It's Pro Bowl season, so I'm just curious if you guys know how many Pro Bowls he made.
No, we didn't talk about Pro Bowls. We'll talk about that next pod. Thurman played.
He played from 1988 to 1999. I'll give you that.
I was going to say 87, so I was going to say 87 to 2000. So he played, 12 years? Last year he was trash. I know he played for the Dolphins.
Well, he played with the Dolphins in 2000. Andre Reed, and Bruce Smith.
Are you talking about his Bills career?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it doesn't. The
I know-
Dolphins.
I
He did
know.
not make the Pro Bowl with the Dolphins. I'll tell you.
well, I know. I just thought that was like I thought you said he played in '99. I was like, let's cut that year out because I know. I
No,
thought
he played from
with the
'88 to 2000, technically.
Okay.
13-year career. How many Pro Bowls?
Okay, so if he had 12 years, I would say he's a Pro Bowler 5 times. No, seven. I'm going 7.
I'm gonna say
7-time Pro Bowler.
I wanted to say 7, but I'm gonna say 8-time Pro Bowler. I'm gonna go up one.
I think.
Dom, you shouldn't have changed your answer.
No, is it really 5, dude?
1989 through 1993, 5 straight Pro Bowls.
Oh, I knew it. I shouldn't have done it because I knew he was
with an
he won the
MVP
yeah.
in 91. Yep.
I knew he was a beast early in his career. I knew he had a good. I just thought, that's just a weird. It's always weird, like looking back at Hall of Famer's career, and I don't even think Jim Kelly made the Pro Bowl that often. So,
no.
I mean, Josh is a 2-time Pro Bowler. So what am I saying? In 5 years, Josh only made 2 Pro Bowls. So
yeah,
I was thinking like less than 50. I was usually think like a Hall of Famer. I was just thinking like 50%, maybe like 6 out of 12. But I don't know. I should have stayed 5. I'm dumb.
All right, Mike froze.
Oh, I thought he was just blank faced.
No, he's not blank faced, but no, geez, I forgot Thurman went to the Dolphins. I really did. I didn't realize, and all those guys got cut.
I thought Andre Reed went to the I mean, this is true. The Redskins. They were the Redskins at the time. I know that Bruce Smith did. Bruce Smith played like 3 or 4 years with the Redskins.
Yeah,
he broke the all-time sack record, I think, with the Redskins. I'm pretty sure.
In 3 years, that's absolutely insane.
Okay. The career sack record, genius.
Oh wait.
Okay.
Here he is. We got it back.
All right, we're back. All right. I don't know if you asked another question.
Nope.
No. I said we were passing the time by talking about random like Bills greats on certain teams. And I said, yeah, I think Bruce Smith. Yeah, I think he went to the Redskins and I think he broke the all-time sack record for the Redskins and he only played like 3 or 4 years. And Joe thought I meant like in the totality of like his.
I was like,
career.
what?
He had like 200 sacks. No, he had like 30. I want to say
he had 178, 172 with the Bills.
Something like that. I think he has. Oh no, that's probably the right number.
He had like 200.
He had like 20 sacks with the Redskins. He was still good.
Like
He's almost like 40.
What a beast.
Yeah. Okay, my second question.
Redskin over and over again.
My second question is about Tage Thompson. This might be easy because I'm trying to think of like some history of him. Where did he go to college?
Okay, I know the answer, so I'll wait for Joe. I'll let Joe respond.
I have no idea where he went to college. I mean,
where did he play college hockey?
I have no idea.
How about I'll give you one hint? Can I give him a hint, Mike?
Yeah, of course.
I'll give him one hint. It's the name of a state.
That's
states.
It is.
That
really
opens
good
the
at
door wide
basketball.
open, man.
They're really good at women's basketball.
Really good at women's basketball.
That was an easy hint. Mine was at least like you had to think of something.
Bro, your hint is so vague.
What do you mean?
There's 50 states.
It's state in the name?
Okay, there's 50 states, and like half of them don't have college hockey.
Tell me states in the name.
Like Northeast. This is the Northeast.
Northeast.
He's still a 50-50 in my opinion. Like he could say one or two things. This is the one. I now put it down to 2. There's 2 guesses you could have.
Oh, man.
Don't say New York, by the way. That would.
I'm not going to. I know he didn't.
Fine. It's a flip of a coin. I mean, do you even know the 2 options? I'm not even gonna tell you, but I feel like there's 2 options that you could say.
I think. Name of a state.
Oh my god. And in the Northeast, there's like 7 states in the Northeast. 2 of them have prominent hockey programs that are named after them. So you're down to 2 options.
I'm not even gonna guess. I'm gonna
just say one. Just say
no.
Please
no.
say it.
No.
Just
I don't know. I don't know.
Dom,
I don't know.
It.
I don't know.
UConn.
The Huskies.
The other option would have been. I thought you might have said with Massachusetts because UMass.
I was gonna say UMass. That was one of the 2
that would have been a bad guess. So
Boston would have been a good guess. BU or BC.
Yeah. Well, you said Northeast, and my head immediately went to Boston. Where?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Northeastern.
No.
Devin Levi.
Well, that's not the name of a state. So
I know.
All right. My last question. So we're getting close to playoff football. The Bills are trying to lock up the 1 seed so that they don't have to go on the road at all. Mm-hmm. When's the last time the Bills won a playoff road game?
Oh, that's a good question, dude. Good question, mate.
Some of them are
Playoff
tricky.
road game. Playoff road game.
1993.
I think he's right on that.
I have two guesses. 93. I'm gonna say 93. Oh no, because I'm saying the 93, like the 93-94 season. I should specify myself.
So
like
technically 94.
I think the last. No, wait. I'm gonna screw myself by switching my answer, but it's the third Super Bowl year because I think they had to go to the AFC Championship game against Miami that year. So I'm gonna say that one.
I have a hat. That's the hat I have. I'm gonna go.
I think it's that one because 94 they had to play. Joe Montana came here and
it was in the Rose Bowl Stadium they played in California.
That's not okay. Yeah, the year they played the Dallas the first time because the fourth Super Bowl they hosted the AFC Championship game against Montana and Montana got concussed by Bruce Smith.
So you're saying the year is 1993?
93.
It's 19. I don't know. I'd like.
It is correct.
Really? Who did they play? Do you know?
At Miami.
Yeah, it was the AFC Championship game, wasn't it?
January 17th, 1993. And on January 31st, we lost to Dallas.
Yeah, okay, it was the AFC Championship game. There you go. I nearly said the year after that, but I thought to myself the Bills had too good of a record. I think that was the only year the Bills won the Super Bowl that they didn't win the division.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. That is a good answer. Good job.
No, they played Denver the second year. That's who it was. I couldn't remember if they played Miami the second year in the AFC Championship game or Denver, but now I remember it was Denver because if you see the Four Falls of Buffalo, it was Scott Norwood's redemption because he kicked the game-winning field goal and they won 10-7.
Yeah, that's what a great 30 for 30. I love watching that.
No, it was really.
I don't know if I love watching it. It makes
love watching it is one thing, but for the history, it's interesting.
The knowledge
of it. But without further ado, that's gonna end it for this. The last episode of 2022, gentlemen. The last episode of 2022. It's like the season 1 finale. It's coming in hot, right? So
yeah, we didn't mention it 15 times.
No, we didn't mention it 15 times, but we will see all of you viewers, listeners out there next year. Thanks for making it such a great year for us. We've had a heck of a time doing it. Happy holidays. Hope everyone had a happy holiday out there. Stayed safe during the snowstorm. If you're a Buffalonian, anywhere else, whatever you ended up with, ice, whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of rain, like freezing rain places, but I've been Joe Kelly and I've been joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. Dom, last time for 2022. How do you always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.
Go Sabres.